Max Verstappen calls for F1 rule change with weekend ruined remark before Qatar GP. Red Bull star Max Verstappen is keen for F1 lawmakers to consider a rule change after his latest complaint. Max Verstappen has called for changes to be made to one of F1's longest-standing rules, after the Red Bull star doubled down in his criticism of the recently expanded race weekend. The Dutchman should be in high spirits in Qatar this weekend, as he is set to clinch his third world title. But the World Championship leader is still not entirely satisfied with how parc ferme rules are affecting his team, due to the introduction of the sprint format. Verstappen was one of several drivers to experience issues with the balance of his car as windy conditions made it tricky to keep the car on the track at the Lusail International Circuit. It was later announced that 22 lap times had been deleted in practice due to track limits infractions, and the 26-year-old believes that teams are being left hamstrung by the inability to make amendments to their cars due to the parc ferme rule, which comes into the place quicker on a weekend when there is a sprint race as qualifying begins on Friday, rather than the normal Saturday. It's difficult to say where we would have ended up if we would have had a normal weekend, but with the track conditions for sure, it's a little bit more difficult to anticipate stuff, Verstappen said, speaking in the post-qualifying press conference. But I think we did the best we could, really. I think it's never going to be perfect, but clearly it was good enough and I was quite happy with the car in qualifying. But it can also be that sometimes, and we've had it in the past, you make a few decisions where you think it's going to be okay, and then it doesn't work out, and then your whole weekend is ruined because you can't touch the car. I think that is a bit of a shame, and that's maybe something we have to look into for the future if we want to continue doing these kinds of events. Parc ferme, a French term that translates to closed park, states that teams are not allowed to make certain changes to the car during specified periods of time on a race weekend when the cars are in their garages. Instead, they are placed under the watchful eye of a person monitoring while teams are restricted in what changes they can make. The checks include weight and dimensional measurements, as well as equipment checks in which homologation labels are viewed to end. Lewis Hamilton clarifies true impact of Toto Wolff absence after BS claims. Toto Wolff has been absent from the Mercedes pit wall at the past 2 races, raising questions about the impact on the team. Lewis Hamilton has claimed that Mercedes team principal Toto Wolff is in every meeting, despite being forced to stay away from the racetrack at the moment after going under the knife for knee surgery. It was first revealed that Wolff would be taking a break from the pit wall ahead of the Japanese Grand Prix, with communications director Bradley Lord and aspiring team principal Jerome D'Ambrosio sharing his duties at Suzuka while he faced his surgery. After missing the trip to Suzuka, it was unclear whether or not he would return in time for the Qatar Grand Prix, with the decision eventually made that the 51-year-old would remain at home as he continues his recovery. Speaking to motorsport.com about the impact of Toto's absence, Hamilton said, "Toto's in every meeting. I saw someone wrote the other day that he had to call in or something for the last race, which was BS. Toto, even though he's not here in person, and he's obviously devastated he can't be here, he's a part of every single meeting. He dialed into the meeting today. He'll dial into the meeting tomorrow morning. He'll be in the meeting in the afternoon. He's on the comms just like the guys back at the factory on the comms for strategy all weekend. He's still 100% fully part of everything. He's just not physically here in the country, and he's a part of those meetings. He speaks in all those meetings just as he does when he's here." Hamilton also insisted that the Mercedes boss had earned a couple of weekends off after what has been another stressful campaign for the Silver Arrows. The Brackley-based team are locked in a fierce battle with Ferrari to secure second place in the Constructor Championship. He continued, "He's worked incredibly hard to set up this team to be where it is today, and he should be able to have weekends off without a problem. He's the boss. Shoot, if I own the team, I'll definitely take weekends off. Not that he's taking the weekend off, but you know what I mean? He has the right to if he wanted to, but it's just because he's recovering, and I just tell him we'll be pushing. And I just always tell him, don't worry, you set up a great team. We'll try to do you proud this weekend."